It's 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order if Phil can lead us in prayer.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, God, thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for the beautiful weather, the beautiful day you've given us. I ask you, Lord, to go with us into this business meeting on behalf of the city, Lord. Lord, I pray, Lord, that you would grant us the knowledge and wisdom we need to make the best decisions we can on behalf of the community we love so dear. Lord, please bless our citizens, our employees, our elected officials. And God, just thank you for the desire we all have to come together and act on the best part for the city, Lord. Now go with us, lead, guide, and direct us. These many favors and blessings we ask in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. If everyone will join us with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So next, we need to consider the agenda for adoption. Do I have a motion?
Make motion.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0. Item 5, we need to adopt the following meeting minutes. Item A, the regular meeting of August 20th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Make motion.
Second.
Second, please vote. Motion carries 4-0. Item B, the executive session meeting of August 20th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Make motion.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0. Now, item 6, we have some proclamations, which is why everybody's here tonight. The first is for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas cancer is a group of diseases characterized by uncontrolled growth and spread of abnormal cells, which, if not controlled, can result in death. And whereas each year in the United States, about 17,000 children and adolescents under the age of 20 are diagnosed with cancer, but the overall survival rate for childhood cancer has increased from only 10% to more than 85% over the last 40 years, thanks largely to organizations such as the American Cancer Society. And whereas gold is the color that represents childhood cancer awareness, whereas the city of Cumming currently has numerous gold ribbons and information signs around City Hall in hopes of raising awareness of childhood cancer, and whereas the Cumming Utilities Cumming Home Water Tower at Georgia 400 at exit 14 was lit gold from September 2nd through the 6th as another means of raising awareness. Now, therefore, I, Troy Brumbelow, Mayor of the City of Cumming, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2024 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Cumming. Thank you very much. How are you? My man Eddie, how are you, buddy?
How you doing? Thank you.
And we'll have to have a few people on this side, so 3 or 4 of y'all come over to this side to balance things out, that would be great.
Well, I guess if they're gonna get all over it.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, y'all, we'll just scrunch you in, make it tight. There we go. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you. You have a great one. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, sir.
Bill.
Good to see you.
Thank you, Lynn.
So next we have a proclamation for Hispanic Heritage Month. Whereas from September 15th to October 15th, Americans observe National Hispanic Heritage Month, a time to celebrate the heritage, history, traditions, and cultural diversity of Hispanic Americans whose heritage is rooted in Spain and the countries and territories of Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Paraguay, Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic. And whereas during this time, Americans recognize the achievements and contributions of Hispanic American champions who have inspired others to achieve success, and whereas Latinos have helped chart America's course since our country's beginning as doctors and engineers, artists and entrepreneurs, and leaders in science, business, labor, government, and military, and across grassroots movements with their faith and drive to succeed, pushing our country to grow, prosper, and pursue its highest ideals. And whereas the observation began in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon Johnson and was expanded by President Ronald Reagan to cover a 30-day period, which was enacted into law on August 17, 1988. And whereas the theme for Hispanic Heritage Month 2024 is Pioneers of Change, Shaping the Future Together, which encapsulates the spirit of innovation, resilience, and unity that defines the Hispanic experience and recognizes all Hispanics and Latinos who have been trailblazers and game changers paving the way for future generations. Now, therefore, I, Troy Brumbelow, Mayor of the City of Cumming, hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th as Hispanic Heritage Month in the City of Cumming. My golfing partner, Miss Julie.
How are you, sir? Thank
Good, how are you?
Picked a good night.
All right, again, we're gonna stretch again.
City can't afford a wide camera lens.
Can I get maybe, some of the shorter folks, maybe just stand in front, and some of the taller folks a little bit? Come on, they're not Facebook ready. All right, let's see. Everyone, okay. You guys just, you two on the end, guys just come up a little bit, and there we go. All right. Yeah, there you go, perfect. All right, ready? And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have Constitution Week, from 1787 to 2024. Whereas September 17th, 2024 marks the 237th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to bestow official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore, I, Troy Brumbelow, Mayor of the City of Cumming, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Mayor of the City of Cumming, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd, 2024 as Constitution Week, and ask our residents to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Cumming, Georgia, to be affixed the 17th day of September 2024. And that's a very powerful thing that we have, the Constitution of the United States, and how blessed we are to live in such a great country. We should all be thankful, and I know that I am.
You too, sir. Shift in just a little tighter. There we go. There we go.
Thank you.
See you, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We already shared. We got it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right.
Next, under old business, there is none. Under new business administration, item 1, emergency repair of the City Hall roof.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Over the course of the last several months, we've experienced many leaks in the roof of this building. We've kind of been spot repairing that as we go along, but I, along with the city staff, feel that it's time to replace the existing roof system. The current roof is the original TPO roof system on the building that was constructed in 2003. In your packet tonight, you'll see several pictures of several areas in the building that have experienced damage due to water intrusions. I've reached out to 4 different companies to get quotes on replacing the TPO roof system, and the quotes I have are as follows. Bone Dry Roofing for $72,087. Zurich's Roofing Systems for $88,790. Edge Roofing for $89,630, and Reset Roofing for $124,468.85. After reviewing and discussing these 4 quotes with 2 of our most senior building inspectors and a third-party roofing company, it's my recommendation to approve the quote from Bone Dry Roofing in the amount of $72,087 for this needed emergency work on the City Hall roof. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
And this comes with a 20-year warranty from the manufacturer.
A 20-year manufacturer's warranty and a 5-year workmanship warranty.
Any other questions or discussion? We have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve Bone Dry Roofing for $72,087.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil. Item B, planning and zoning. Item 1, rezoning application 2024173 for Michter Enterprises LLC at 223 Kelly Mill Road.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Before you open the public hearing for this item, I would like to read the Planning Commission report into the record. The agent has made application on behalf of the property owner to rezone .935 acres, more or less, at 223 Kelly Mill Road from single-family residential R1A to office professional to convert the existing structure to an office use. The adjacent property is zoned OP, and future land use in the area is designated office professional and public institutional, as this section of the corridor is transitioning from residential use. Therefore, this zoning request conforms with the city's comprehensive plan. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on August 20th, and with no public comments were made, the board unanimously voted to recommend approval of the rezoning with the 6 conditions in your packet. I'd be happy to answer any questions before you open the hearing.
Any questions for Scott? No. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0. Anyone that'd like to speak in favor of this rezoning application?
Sean Courtney with Lipscomb Johnson, 112 North Main Street here in Cumming. On behalf of Michter Enterprises, Scott said this is a zoning to OP for, it's an existing residential zoning right next to Arrow. Just would like to do an office. You can see based on the survey, there's just a existing house that would have to be renovated. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions for Sean?
So they're renovating the existing structure? Is that what you said?
That's correct, yep. And there's conditions if they were to go 10% or more beyond that, they'd have to come back to the council, or if they demolished it and did something else, they'd have to come back to the council for approval.
Because that house caught fire. It's in pretty bad shape.
Are they planning on taking out any of the trees surrounding the house?
At this point, no. I'm not sure what the future lends.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Is there anyone else that'd like to speak in favor of this rezoning application? Anyone like to speak in opposition? We have a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0. What's the pleasure of the council?
To me, it fits in with the Arrow being next door, that whole area right through there. It's business as well.
I believe just past it, there's a hair
Salon.
salon or
There is.
accounting office or
Salon.
something right past it on the
There's
right.
several businesses in that area of the corridor.
Yep. Any other discussion?
How old is the house?
How old?
Old, yeah.
It's pretty old. I don't know how old, but
I know you
it
said it
did
got
catch
burnt.
fire. How bad it is, I don't know, but it doesn't look like it from the outside, but
Yeah.
from the inside, it's,
So they could be coming back to us if they have to renovate more than 10%. The odds are,
yeah.
Possible.
okay.
Well, it's a better use than residential right there, and it follows the comp plan. I'll make a motion that we, hang on, let me get it. Approve the rezoning application 2024173 for Michter Enterprises.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Next, item 2, amendment to alcohol ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This is an amendment to the alcohol ordinance, actually dealing with several things. We try to do our best to not get into your ordinances until we have a couple of different things we can address at one time, so we're not constantly opening them up and amending them. But here, we're dealing with 3 different things. One is, for the most part, it's a change in terminology. We've always allowed what we have previously called conditional use permits for alcohol sales in certain situations where it might not always be appropriate, but sometimes it could be. That creates an enormous amount of confusion when I'm working with Scott and his department and everybody trying to deal with that, because conditional use permits require all kinds of advertisement and public hearings and that sort of thing in the zoning context that they don't require in the alcohol context. So for the most part of this ordinance, what we're dealing with is changing the terminology from conditional use permit to special exception permit so that we don't have that same kind of confusion, because honestly, it confuses me sometimes when we first start talking about these things. We are expanding in one place where you can have a special exception permit to now include the office professional zoning category. The second thing this ordinance does is it addresses something we've been working on for a while with Jennifer and the city center, is to have an amenity permit where sometimes alcohol is served, not sold, but served as an amenity to a service that's otherwise provided. And we regulate that so we make sure that we're not dealing with the sale of alcohol and it doesn't turn into an actual sale transaction that the city needs to collect an excise tax on or anything like that.
So like a tasting or something?
Something like a tasting, but think of it more along the lines of if somebody were to go to get their nails done somewhere, sometimes those nail salons want to be able to offer somebody a small glass of champagne or something like that while they're getting their nails done. It's that kind of a thing is the biggest thing. And then finally is an interesting change. It's a proposal to allow self-service in some situations, and that's not a tongue twister I intended to create, but I just did. The idea here is, and there are some examples of this of people who've wanted to come into the city. This is not something currently that you can do in the county, but we've had several people who wanted to come into the city with this, where you would be able to, with some kind of an RFID badge or something like that, serve yourself alcohol. It limits how much you can serve, and in the context of beer, it'd be no more than one beer at a time, so you couldn't go up with like a growler and fill it up and then take it back to your table and drink it or anything like that. With wine, it limits it to no more than, I think, 5 ounces is what we put the limitation on for wine. And it's something where you could have a shop, for example, that sells wine, and then they could have a series of bottles set up so that people could taste them, have a 1, 3, or a 5 ounce pour, or a restaurant. There are several examples of this in Gainesville where people can go to a restaurant, order food, and then they have a wall of taps where you can go up to with your mug that has an RFID badge on it, and then you can get a limited amount of alcohol using that. People really like the concept. We've had people interested in coming into the city who would do that. The way we've set it up, it would be limited to PUDs, mainly because you have more control over what's going to be going on and going into a PUD, and you wouldn't necessarily want to have, just any, bottle shop open up and start doing this kind of tasting. It is not allowed for distilled spirits. It's malt beverages and wine only where this would be allowed. I realize that's a lot of information. Happy to answer any questions that you might have with respect to it.
Any questions for Kevin? Do we have a motion?
You said, I do have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
With the motion. You said that there's nowhere in the county that allows that currently?
I'm not aware of any place in the county that allows the
I'm familiar with
self-service.
restaurants that do that.
Right.
Sometimes they have it at the table too, I think.
Yeah, I have seen that at the table before. I'm not aware of any place in the county where you can do that. I could be wrong about that, but I know that I have seen it in Gainesville and I've seen it in Roswell. And I'll be honest with you, it's a pretty neat concept, and it's one of those things that with the the advances in technology so that somebody can't go up and just fill up, an enormous glass or an enormous jug, and there's actually a limitation on how much you can get. It makes it safer. So it's something now that can be regulated, whereas probably 10 to 15 years ago, it would have been really tough to regulate something like that.
So how do you keep like underage from, I'm naive to it because I haven't seen it, so
Sure.
I'm just trying to comprehend how it works.
So the way it works is in order to get one of those cups or one of those cards that allows you to be able to serve, you have to present your ID before you're even given one of those. So you can't get the cup or you can't get the card without presenting your ID to begin with.
So is that card for that one day only, or is it?
Oh, yeah. You have to turn it in. It almost works in some situations like a tab. And when you take the card back up, then the card registers how many drinks this person had, or you take the mug back up and it registers how many drinks you had, and that's how you pay for everything.
And you probably, if it's a restaurant or a bar, you're still going to have a server and there's still staff there. It's not.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's probably, the idea is probably so you don't have to wait on your drinks, which would be my guess, is the kind of the convenience and the ease of it.
So we've had several people ask for this?
We've had people approach us at the city center, I know, who had this kind of a concept. So the city center is the only place I'm aware of because, nobody else is going to contact us about it if they get approached if it's not in our ordinances. But we did have somebody who wanted to bring that concept to the city center.
Any other discussion? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the amendment to the alcohol ordinance as presented.
Have a second?
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0. Next, item 3, special exemption permit 2024215 for Grazy Girls LLC.
And so not wasting any time with this alcohol ordinance amendment. The business owners have made application for a special exemption permit for the sale of and consumption of alcohol on the premises in the office professional zoning district. The business known as Grazy Girls is located at Central Plaza at 230 Elm Street, Suite 400. For those who are not familiar, it's right across from the post office, basically on Elm Street, as at Central Plaza. We've evaluated their application according to the special exception criteria in the alcohol ordinance and concur they comply with them. Therefore, the staff recommends approval of the special exception permit as requested. I'll be happy to answer any questions, and I believe the business owners are here also if you have any questions of them.
Any questions for Scott or the owners?
Not for Scott, but the owners, would you guys be interested in telling us about your business?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hi there. I'm Kendra, and this is Christy, and we are the Grazy Girls. We are opening a charcuterie shop, and we will be serving charcuterie boxes. We will be doing some catering as well as having charcuterie classes, serving wine and also craft beer, we hope. So we are in our build out right now. We're gonna be done with the build out in a few weeks, and we're hoping that when we open, we'll be able to have our charcuterie boxes available for purchase, as well as people can order a charcuterie board and come in and pick it up, or you can put in an order for a grazing table or other catering items that we will have available.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Any questions? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the new special exemption permit 2024215 for Grazy Girls LLC.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Item 4, alcohol license application for Grazy Girls LLC at 230 Elm Street, Suite 400.
Thank you, members of the council. The Department of Planning and Zoning has received an alcohol beverage license application for the sale of malt beverages and wine for consumption on the premises of Grazy Girls, 230 Elm Street, Suite 400. In accordance with our ordinance, we've done a background check conducted on the license applicant. No issues were found. Additionally, the applicant has met all the requirements, paid all the fees. Therefore, we'd recommend approval of the license as requested.
Any questions for Scott? Any discussion? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion, to have a second?
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Next, item 5, rezoning application 2024177 for Boxville Storage LLC at Mary Alice Park Road and Marketplace Boulevard, public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you open the public hearing, I would like to read the Planning Commission report into the record. The agent has made application on behalf of the property owner to rezone 3.697 acres, more or less, from planned shopping center to highway business to construct a climate-controlled storage facility at the southeast corner, Marketplace Boulevard, Mary Alice Park Road. The adjacent properties are zoned HB and future land use designation for the area is commercial. Therefore, the zoning conforms with the city's comprehensive plan. Planning Commission held a public hearing on August 20th. No public comments were made. The board voted unanimously to approve the rezoning with the 12 conditions contained in your packet. Be happy to answer any questions before we open the hearing.
Any questions for Scott? We have a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0. Anyone that'd like to speak in favor of this rezoning application?
Mayor and Council, Sean Courtney with Lipscomb Johnson on behalf of Boxville Storage. Oh. Excuse me a second. There we go. So it is located there at the southeast corner of Mary Alice and Marketplace. It is for a climate-controlled self-storage building. It's approximately 40,000 square feet per floor, 3 stories tall. This is representative of the types of buildings that Boxville Storage does. I believe this is one of their locations in Flowery Branch. I'm here with Sean Gleason with Boxville, and we'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the council?
I was just curious what the exterior is going to be. I mean, I know you say that's what they built in the past, but what is it going to be? Is it going to be brick, harp siding, aluminum, because we put some really nice things in that area and want to keep it.
It may say it on here, but it's so small we can't read it.
Yeah, Sean Gleason, 2121 Ponce de Leon Avenue, down in Atlanta. So we're haven't quite gotten to the full design phase of it, but the mixture of materials will be a mix of masonry, stucco, ephes, similar to what's out there along those shopping centers now. So stack stone, things like that.
So I can actually see some of this, Susie. The darker brown is brick. The lighter brown is fiber cement siding. That's what I can make out on that one page.
Would there be any way we could get some better renderings or actual pictures? This is the first time we're seeing it, so kind of what they'd look like in person, to actually see what it'd look and feel like in that area. As to what Susie said, there's some nicer architectural things going up over there, and right next to it's going to be a nice residential development, or a couple parcels up. So I'd really like to make sure that it's going to kind of look like the character over there instead of standing out like a sore thumb.
Scott, wouldn't this still fall under the architectural control of the city?
Yes, I was about to mention this is more than 1,000 square feet. They'll still have to come before the design review board and get the design review permit. And of course, Councilman Crane, Councilman Light, and Ralph Weber on that committee, as well as y'all that want to make any input into that. So yeah, they'll have to provide us that.
So it'll have to be approved by the review board.
And that's specifically a condition as well.
Right.
Scott, you and I talked the other day about the road
Possible decel lane on Mary Alice Park Road.
Right.
Again, and I have not talked with Sean about that or with the builder, but Mary Alice Park Road, I believe, is 35 mile per hour. It doesn't technically, according to GDOT standards, require a decel lane at that speed, just the apron in and out. But I mean, that's up to y'all if y'all are interested in requiring that, or at least making them look at constructing a decel lane there on Mary Alice Park Road.
I would at least like to have a couple of weeks to look into that.
So you want to postpone
Yes.
the vote?
Yep.
So you want to make a motion to that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to postpone the vote on this until 2 weeks.
Well, hang on. We're not at that point yet. We still got to go to the other end of the public hearing, and then you can do it.
Okay.
Anyone else that'd like to speak in favor? Is there anyone like to speak in opposition? Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Make a motion.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0. Now I can take a motion.
I'll make a motion to postpone the vote on this either for 2 weeks or our next meeting night.
Well, yeah, so that would be, I guess the best thing to say to the next meeting.
Until the next meeting night.
Do I have a
Second.
second to that motion?
Second.
Please vote. This motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Next, we have a conditional use permit 2024176 to Forge Place LLC at 529 Canton Highway. Public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you open the hearing, again, I'd like to read the Planning Commission report into the record. The agent has submitted on behalf of the property owner a conditional use permit request to establish a wrecked motor vehicle compound in the Highway Business Zoning District at 529 Canton Highway. The applicant already operates an automotive repair establishment at this location, and the vehicle compound would be utilized as a supplemental use for that business. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on August 20th. No public comments were made. The board voted unanimously to approve the CUP with the 4 conditions contained in your packet. I'll be happy to answer questions before you open the hearing.
Any questions for Scott? I have a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0. Does anyone like to speak in favor of this conditional use permit?
Sean Courtney with Lipscomb Johnson on behalf of Ford's Place LLC and Austin Potts. This is a conditional use permit for a wrecked motor vehicle compound. You can see it's located there on Highway 20 at Ford's Place. There's an existing automotive there. This is the area. It's a small area. It'll be in the back. It will be fenced and screened from other properties and the right-of-way. There'll also be, per condition, a landscape screen to the south. Here with my client, and we'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions for Sean?
I think we talked last week about that, John, about limiting the hours of operation or to propose to drop off vehicles.
Yeah.
So I'd like to, I don't see that in a condition, but
Sure.
I think that,
Austin, you wanna come up? Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So Austin is definitely open to limiting the hours. The only concern would be if he were to get a contract with sheriff's office or police department or stuff like that, and if you want to speak more to that.
Yeah, so currently 0% of our business is vehicle storage. This lot would allow us the opportunity to try to get on rotations with local police, but outside of that, all of our drop-offs would be pretty much daylight hours. Normal, we plan on being at the office 8 to 5, 8 to 6. So that would be our normal business hours, and the only reason to get us out in the middle of the night, like I don't currently run 24 hours now, would be for those contracts, which are not guaranteed. They're an if they don't need us, then we won't be out there at that time of night. But with the screening, the privacy screening, I plan on doing both sides, so that would help with echoes, disabling or just not having any kind of backup alarms, beeps, excessive idling, overnight idling, the landscape barrier, and then just, being good neighbors and stuff like that. Any other questions or concerns you might have?
Yeah,
Or
that's
one-
the only thing that I have, is that noise level being
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, our-
3 o'clock in the morning and, you're,
Hear the beep?
In those
beep,
situations,
beep.
Should we add that into the conditions?
Well, it would need to be in the conditions or it's not.
Right.
if it's a possibility, we can just leave it on the truck, lock it up and go. That's an option. We want to leave as little of a footprint as possible with
Right.
the surrounding citizens. So I'm open to, working with y'all however you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, that's just my concern, would be that, unloading a wrecked car can get pretty noisy.
Yeah, and we're not, doing maintenance or anything after hours. It would just be leaving it on the truck, quick drop and goes, or just drop, lock the gate and go. I won't have guys stationed there all night, every night.
Right.
And then just for y'all's knowledge, the way I hear from other companies that do that type of work, it's not every night, every week. It would be, just how you fall. So you might get one at 11 o'clock one night and then go a week of daytime hours.
How many cars could you estimate you would be putting in there?
With that square space and keeping our trucks in that fenced-in area, I think at max 25. And we don't plan on storing 25 cars. We want to move them as quick as possible, either back to the registered owners, insurance, body shops, whichever.
Could we put that limit on it?
Yeah, that would be fine.
Okay.
So you're going to put 25 cars max?
Max
Is that
cars.
chain link 6 foot with the blockage or whatever?
So the way I looked in the city's rules, 6 foot is the max. So I was going to do 6 foot black, no razor wire or anything like that, and then double-edged or double-sided windscreen. And then I know on that 75-foot section where the windscreen barrier is, I could take the fence up to 8 feet or, trees or whichever when construction's done and all that.
So we would add item 5, 25 vehicle maximum, and item 6, no beeping from the truck. I don't know if that is sufficient to, I don't know how to explain it.
Or after
I
hours.
think the way we had, not to interrupt, no overnight deliveries unless for.
That's not in the
government.
conditions that are set in front of the
correct,
council,
correct.
so that's why I'm,
So no overnight delivery? We want to define overnight?
well, I'm hearing two things. You could bring it in at night and just park it and not,
I
and
guess-
then you're not making any noise, or
Yeah.
if you're backing the truck up, those things.
No unloading? I don't know. Yeah.
You could say no unloading from a set time period.
Yeah, I will. What do you guys think? I mean,
So is that a possibility? If you are bringing it back and you've got those contracts and it's, so let's say 11 o'clock at night, and you bring it into your storage facility, or your storage area, would you have to, your work, would you need to unload it at that time, or would you still leave it hooked up, or?
We would prefer to unload them, if it was just a DUI arrest or something like that, where you just got to put it in neutral and roll it off. It would be ideal to unload them at the time they are delivered.
I mean, the unloading doesn't make noise, it's the backing the truck up
Yeah.
with the beep. That's the noise that
Yeah,
gets
and
created.
We have those disabled on our trucks already, the backup alarms and stuff like that. I guess where it could be noisy is, a major accident, trying to unload that in the middle of the night, and those we would just leave on the truck. But the minor fender benders or something like that, if we think we can come, get them off the truck without creating crazy noise, then we'll just leave them on.
I don't know how to make that a condition.
No, we don't do any of that work right now.
But you do work 24 hours now?
No.
No, you don't?
No, ma'am. If you look us up on Google, we kind of accept calls from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., but that's kind of not when we're stationed awaiting calls.
What's the best way for us to get the condition on paper, Kevin? That we're covering everything that's intended? Or do we need to prepare it and postpone it for 2 weeks? I think it's probably the best thing is John, if y'all can come up with something in writing to those conditions so that we make sure all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed. Because I know several people on the rotations with the county and the city, and you may get two in one night you may get one at 1 a.m. and one at 4 a.m. If you're on the city, you're the only person towing
Oh, okay.
for that entire week,
Yeah.
you know. But then you may go with the city and not get one car for a week. But the county, there's 10 tow companies, and they rotate alphabetical order.
Yep.
And from what I'm hearing, they're getting at least one a day now. You know, so it's all according. I know that's a tough business to be in, because
Yep.
you may get called at 3 a.m. every night, you know, but that's the way that part goes. But to get on the county rotations, up to the sheriff; to get on the city rotations, up to the chief. That's how that works.
Would you be amenable for no backup alarms and no unloading vehicles that create excessive noise? Is that?
I just want to make sure council's comfortable with the wording, so that
Okay.
we don't have noise complaints later and there's nothing that can be done at that point, so. We're not to the point of making a motion, so. Any other questions for them? Anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this conditional use permit? Anyone that'd like to speak in opposition? I have a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0. So from the site plan, it looks like it's a good distance away from Newberry. Kind of hard to tell by this plat exactly how far. Well, it's probably at least 550 to 600 feet away.
I'd say that's a good estimate.
What's the pleasure of the board? I don't know if y'all,
I make a motion, we postpone this item until the next meeting night.
have a second?
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
While we're still here, do you want them to try to put that in writing?
Yeah, that would,
So where'd Sean go? There you
Sean.
go. So if you can put that in writing and get it to Scott, but not the day of the meeting, plenty of time for the council to digest it?
Thank you.
All right. So the next meeting would be the 1st of October. Next is utilities, item 1, GFA grant.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we were fortunate to secure a grant through GFA for $100,000 to help us with the process of complying with the EPA's new lead and copper rule revision. The EPA is forcing us to go through and look at all the service lines, that come from the meter to the house, to make sure that none of the lines are made out of lead. And in the South, generally, no one used lead lines. So what we've found is that there is no lead. I mean, it's what we suspected from the beginning, but we've had to look at hundreds, if not a couple of thousand of our meters just to check and see.
But this is from the meter to the house.
It
This would have
is.
been what the homeowner did,
That's right.
or builder.
That's our builder. That's correct. And that's one reason I think that the state is helping us with the finances of it, because they realize that, we didn't install the service line, but the original owner did. So I think the fear is those back in the 40s and 50s and all that, which, we have had so much redevelopment, we just don't have many old lines. And folks, when they begin to leak, they replace them anyway. But we've looked in some of our most suspicious areas, older developments, to see if we had anything, but we have not found a single thing. So that's the short of it, the long of it's we're having to go through all these processes that the EPA requires us to do. We had to create a map. It has to go online. You have to be able to check your home to see if, what the age of the feed line is and all that, and we've
So does the
created all
grant
that,
pay
so.
for that legwork we're having to do?
It does. So far, I think we've spent about $40,000, so that will be reimbursable through this grant. And so I don't suspect it will cost more than that, than $100,000 to complete the whole process.
So what if a homeowner did have a line out of copper? Or lead?
Mainly lead.
Well, this just
yeah.
says lead and copper rule, that's one.
Yeah, and that was mainly the lead that was the issue in the past, because they used to solder those together with lead, but if there was an issue, we'd just have to identify it. They could replace it, or, it may be that there's more grant money down the road to replace some of these, but so far, we found zero, and we suspect we'll never find one, so.
All right.
But still, we had to do all that legwork and all that, so. We're asking that the council give the mayor the ability to sign these GFA grant documents so that we can turn them back into GFA and get this secured and start getting reimbursed for the work that we've done.
Any questions? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to allow the mayor to sign the GFA grant up to $100,000.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you, John. Number 2, AWRF fencing project.
Right, so I have a map here. It's kind of hard to see this, but if you'll look up in the far right-hand corner of the drawing, there is the wastewater treatment plant. We call it the Advanced Water Reclamation Facility. It's just a fancy term for, for the plant there. We have a long road that enters the facility, and we've budgeted, for chain link fence on both sides of that driveway. Currently, it's barbed wire. And so when we went through the settlement with the subdivision that's on the south side of this road, we had to go through a settlement because they needed access, and Kevin Talent, our city attorney, worked through this. We received a settlement for $95,000. And so we knew that we wanted to earmark that money to do some improvements there. So we had 3 bids, or 3 proposals. Foster Fence was $91,100, and Five Oaks Fence Incorporated was $93,410. Harrison Fence was $95,120, and the department would like to go with a low bid or the low proposal from Foster Fence in the amount of $91,100 to complete this project.
Any questions for John?
This is just a chain link style fence.
It is this black vinyl coated because of the residential, neighborhood out there. And they are actually donating more money for a future project to have a wrought iron gate put in there. So we're actually.
They needed access across us. I don't remember if you were here then or not,
yeah.
but they're paying for all this.
Right.
Yeah, so far it's cost us $0.
Any other discussion? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we accept Foster Fence for 91-1.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Item 3, report of proposals for Highway 20 West waterline proposals.
So this is a big one. We had a small grant at the beginning, now we're going to spend some money. So if you look at the map, this is Highway 20. On the right-hand side is the Cumming city limits. On the left-hand side is the Forsyth-Cherokee County line. I kindly marked some roads to help you see, the extent of this project. There's Bethelview Road shown, there's Post Road. And so we determined that it's in our best interest to go ahead and just install 2 lines instead of one bigger line, two 16 inches instead of, say, 124 out that highway. Mainly because that roadway is going to be 6 lanes wide, and so if we have to bore from one side and put a fire hydrant over here and go up on another fire hydrant and tap across and go to Post Road and tap across and go to, when you add all those crossings up, the more expensive way to do it is with a 24-inch line and mini crossings. So it's less expensive to do 2 16s, plus it keeps us out from under the roadway. Who wants to dig out in the middle of the road to repair a leak with all those cars? I mean, it's about like a freeway. And I don't know if y'all have been out there recently. I went in and took some pictures. This is like standing at Kroger at Bethelview. It kind of looks like a war zone out there. They have cut trees. Sawney Drugs is over there on the left. This is looking back towards Cumming. You see what a gigantic right-of-way. They've cleared so many trees. This is the DOT project, widening 20. I don't know if y'all been over to 575 and seen that work. That seems like that's taken forever. And I thought they would be further towards Forsyth County, but they're not. But they decided to start on our end and work towards the middle. The mayor and I were talking about that. Here's Ace Hardware. You see all those trees they've cut there. Just an enormous right-of-way. This is Doc Bramlett Road, and they've completely eradicated that. There's a big, long gas station building there at that corner, and anyway, they're moving forward. These numbers are gigantic. I know we've designed, we've redesigned, we've considered options, we've done all kinds of things to try to minimize the impact of this project. We think we've got a really good deal with C.W. Matthews. They are the company that's paving the road. And they're out there already, they already know, a lot of the risk of what's under the ground. They know conditions out there. They're going to have equipment there already doing massive road work. So they have less risk than, let's say, the second highest. JDS is John D. Stevens Incorporated, an excellent contractor. If I got to choose one of the best ones, JDS would be great. They are $7 million more, and I think it's because of the risk in the not being there. I mean, there's going to be a lot of, C.W. Matthews, let's say we awarded it to JDS. They're going to call C.W. Matthews and go, hey, when can we get out there and put this segment of line in? And they're going to say, well, we haven't filled in this, this hole over here. We hadn't cut down this hillside. And so just a lot of hurry up and wait and hurry up and wait. And I think that's probably what contributed to the high cost of the other 2 contractors. So it's our recommendation that we go with C.W. Matthews Contracting Company Incorporated. Their bid was $28,398,055.54. We think that's the best option. We think that even if we waited, tried to do it again, we don't think we'll ever get it any lower than that. We do have a GFA loan for $26 million. So it's not fully covered by the GFA loan, but we did receive an agreement that the mayor signed last time for $2.7 million. The $2.7 million is the part we're missing is about $2.7 million. And we're getting $2.7 million because we sold all those easements. And the $2.7 million is related to all the sewer issues we got out there. So this is a water and a sewer project. So we do, with that reimbursement, have all the funds that we need to complete this project at $28,398,055.54. So
this is water line and sewer.
This is water and sewer. There's a long force main out there and a couple of different gravity sewer lines are going to be impacted by the grading, the change of the grade and everything out there. So,
any questions for John?
How long will this project take, John?
So that's a good question. I think this project will take 3 to 4 years. It may take more. It's such a big one. Which also, you know, when you're considering all that money, we won't be paying all that out at one time. You know, as they build this line over the next 3 to 4 years, we'll be, you know, drawing down on that GFA loan and paying for that over time. So it'll be over 3 to 4 years that we spend all that.
So if someone connects on to our existing line there now, and then the new line is put in, who pays for that
That's a good question. I'm sure it would be part of our, you know, process we'd be paying to, but see, we wouldn't be adding any more pipe because the pipes are going way further out. So
Yeah.
they would have laid a lot more line to tap, you know, we'd just make a connection.
Okay.
You know, reconnect them there.
So it wouldn't be that much of a cost.
That's right.
Right.
And, you know, if you go out to Post Road and you look, you know, you've got Publix and you got QT being built. We know there's a couple of car washes out there. We've heard of fast food restaurants. So all those things are really high water users. So it's going to help us in a lot of different ways. We're going to have adequate fire flow out there, adequate pressure, and currently we've got what they call cast iron pipe out through there. And if you go down 20, you'll notice a lot of patches because when they widened 20 years ago, they didn't move the water line. So we've got a cast iron pipe up and under one of the lanes, and that stuff's like a skillet. You know, if you dropped an old cast iron skillet on a hard floor, it'd just crack. That stuff is easily cracked. And so to get this out from under that dangerous, you know, almost like a freeway, and to have it out away is going to help staff. It's going to help the traveling public to be safe too. So it's going to help us in a lot of different ways.
I know we talked about it a little bit off of what Joey said too. I think that's such a big number. How long does something like that take to recuperate? And then also in that question, with that GFA loan, I know we've talked about it before, but can you just kind of explain that again too?
The GFA loan, that's really interesting, the way they, you know, I think GFA's struggling right now because, I mean, we don't have to pay this money back until the project's completely done and they come in and you know, look at it and say, okay, it's done, then we start paying it back. So to pay this loan back, it'll be 3 to 4 years before we start paying them back. Now, we do pay interest and we have some interest payments, but.
And it's very low interest too, right?
0.13 is what we secured on that loan.
It's basically free.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Which is really beneficial to us. The other thing is that we did study that corridor to determine if we would recoup this money. You know, is it wise to make this investment? And so our conclusion was that yes, we will more than recoup that money. This line will last probably 50, 60 years. Probably be even longer than that.
Venture to say that whole corridor changes over to commercial with the widening.
That's a good point, Mayor.
That-
I mean,
Then
so
you
all,
get all those more taps and,
Right.
but we also don't have a choice. They're moving the road, so the line has to be
they're gonna
moved.
crack it up, you know, dig it up for long, so.
But this was also in budget, right?
This was budgeted and planned for, although, you know, we predicted it would be 26 million. It's a little bit more. Of course, we've had a lot of inflation. We've designed, redesigned, and we've taken a little bit longer time because we knew it was such a big, complex project. We wanted to get the best price and not, you know, waste money.
But your first estimate was what, 35 to 40 million?
Well, that's correct. We started getting, you know, word from our engineer that, oh boy, you know, this is looking way higher than you first projected. This is looking at $40 million. And, you know, at that point, we began to look. And another thing we did, this may be TMI, but we went through, you know, you've got cast iron pipe, ductile iron pipe, you got PVC pipe, you got HDP pipe that we use and we like. So we bid all those out, just the materials, to see which one would be cheaper. And so it actually made everybody competitive because it's a lot of pipe. That's a lot of expense. So, but I feel like we really hemmed it up and did the best we could to get the best price for what we needed.
Which pipe did you go with?
Ductile iron, we got lucky. Now, I'll have to say on the south side, we do have some PVC because we have a gas line down through there, and it has it runs a current, they run a current on it, and it can jump off onto ductile iron and erode it. So we have to, there's a lot of complexity to all that, so there's some PVC down on the south side.
Any other questions for John? Do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept this bid from C.W. Matthews for the Highway 20 West Waterline project in the amount of $28,398,055.54.
No second?
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Announcements, there are none. Executive session.
Not Mr. Mayor, but there is something that I could address the council with.
Yep.
I think it would help with something. So this would be something, if you wanted to go back and revisit the thing at Ford's Place, I was able to pull up our noise ordinance, and just so you're aware, I don't know if this would address it adequately for you or not, but our noise ordinance makes it so that if any kind of commercial enterprise making noise in the ordinary course of its business, if the noise can be heard in a residential area 300 feet from the property line, it's going to be a violation. When you get to 11 p.m., if it can be heard 100 feet from the property line, it's going to be a violation of our noise ordinance. So I just bring this to your attention in case that solves your concerns. I mean, 300 feet and 100 feet are not very far, and if they're making any noise that can be heard in a residential area like Newberry, for example, it's going to be a violation of our ordinances already. I just wanted to bring that to your attention in case you wanted to make a motion and go back and revisit that, or we can wait, we can deal with it in 2 weeks. I felt bad that I didn't have that information for you immediately, and so I had to look it up, and then when I did, I saw it might apply, and so I wanted to bring that to your attention.
Okay, to be clear, it's 300 feet?
That's during the day, and after 11 p.m., it's 100 feet.
It
So
seems like it's
7 a.m.
reversed.
7 a.m. in the morning to 11 p.m. at night. If a commercial enterprise is making noise in the normal conduct of its business, and it can be heard in a residential area 300 feet away, it's a violation of our noise ordinance.
Which is a football field.
Yeah.
Right.
But then from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., if you can hear it from 100 feet away,
Right.
Okay,
in other words, it's,
Yeah.
you
close.
can't make as much noise when people are sleeping.
Okay.
But, so Newberry is being over 500 feet away.
Well,
If they can hear it in Newberry, then it'll be a violation.
I was thinking about the development that could go in next door.
Oh, and it would be, if it's, yeah, I think it would cover that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, because at nighttime, it would be over 100 feet.
yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to bring that to your attention in case it made a difference in what you wanted to do.
Thank you, Kevin.
So do y'all want to open that back up?
Well, I think they were going to get something else.
Well, if the noise part, if that's what they're having to come up with, it's really already covered through the noise ordinance.
Is there something else?
Then y'all added the condition about no more than 25 vehicles.
Yeah.
25 vehicles.
That could be condition 5 is no more than 25
Which you
vehicles on the
agreed to
lot.
that. The applicant agreed to that.
Right.
so
Yeah, I mean,
Would we not leave it at the postponement, but
No, he's saying you
let them
can,
know?
he's saying you can bring it up now if you want to and vote on it. If not, then it'll stay at the 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can postpone it.
I should leave it postponed, the applicant's not here.
They're right there.
he's
Oh,
here.
Oh, yes, his attorney's gone.
Sean had to leave, he had to go to a
Right.
county meeting.
Gone, I'd say leave it
It's up,
postponed.
it's up to y'all. Y'all get to make the decisions.
Do we need Sean? Is that what you're saying? Do we need Sean? Is that what you're saying?
No, you don't have to. Jason's saying
So
just
just
keep
leave
it
it.
postponed to the work session.
Just leave it, I'd say.
So, all right.
Yep.
So no need for executive session? Yes, sir. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Please vote. Motion carries 4-0. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
I would say